This is Valerie VanBooven with the Senior Care Industry Podcast, where leaders with 3 or more years in the senior care industry get to share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes, so let's get to it. All right, in a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
My name is Michael Fratkin, Dr. Fratkin. I am a father and a husband and a brother. And I'm also what's called a palliative care doctor. And what a palliative care doctor does, at least when I'm doing it, is 3 things. Number 1, we don't take care of any patients. We only take care of people. And we do it with a team that surrounds and looks at that person from multiple perspectives. We do it with a doctor, a nurse, a social worker, a chaplain, community health worker, patient care coordinator, wrapped around to see a person essentially as they see themselves, we hope. So the second thing that we do is we're very good at the treatment of symptoms. Pain, breathlessness, nausea, whatever you're suffering from, whatever you're feeling as a result of a serious illness. We've got a pretty good bag of tricks, and we know how to use them. The third thing that we do is we help people and their families to navigate, to make their way through what are often very complicated medical situations, but what are always really difficult human situations. So that's what I do. I'm part of a team. It's called ResolutionCare Network. And that's what I built.
Nice. Thank you. Your work is so important. And I read, I guess I was telling you earlier, I read about you on your website and about your team and what you guys do. And what a wonderful service for those who are oftentimes, and maybe not always, but often facing end-of-life situations. And so that's awesome.
Yeah, well, I think we're all kind of facing end-of-life situations, aren't we? I mean, that was true before COVID-19, and maybe we're a bit more aware of our mortality, even if we're not burdened by a very serious illness. We're all sort of vibrating a little bit with the random uncertainty of a terrible infection.
That is totally true. I mean, we have, protecting ourselves, our family members, and not being able to see each other. It's been a crazy, crazy time. So
yeah,
you're right. We're all kind of vibrating about what end of life might look like. So
my hope is that's a useful thing for us.
Yeah.
To be aware that everything we take for granted is not to be taken for granted. That everything we love and everything we experience, sort of illusion of immortality that we take through our lives, maybe that could be modified a little bit.
Yeah, I think a lot more people are, at the very least, thinking about getting some paperwork together to make sure that everyone else knows what to do the day I die. Those kinds of things are being talked about quite a bit. So you're right. Yeah. So tell me, what's the best thing I say about serving aging adults? But I'm going to guess you see all kinds of adults. So. And maybe children too. So what's the best thing about what you do and the people that you serve?
The best thing is to explore the mysteries and nuances of every individual person that we meet. The older they are, the more complicated and unique history they have. They might be able to tell me stories about a world I wasn't a part of. That give me a sense of how to make sense of the world that I am a part of. Working with elders gives me a sort of solid foundation to understand my own life a little bit better.
Wow.
It gives me a sense of purpose and validates that all of my efforts are really an expression of respect. So those are the things that I get most from it.
Thank you. And my next question is a little bit, it changes the course of our discussion a little bit. But we're in a time when networking in person is not as possible. We might be getting there, but we've had a lot of experience lately with having to change the course of how we reach out to people. So I hear that, and we do this, so I understand that marketing online is challenging. It's confusing. It's ever changing. What is you and your team? What have been your thoughts about changing how you market or how you reach out to people?
One of the first helpers for me was a woman that took care of her husband. And she's a person of means. She built an incredible business of her own. And the experience that she had of me taking care of her husband was transformative for her. It helped her look at and understand the healthcare system in a completely different way. And the sort of radical idea that we can actually center the care that we provide around a person, not a disease state, that we can construct care around what matters to a person rather than what's the matter with the person was mind-blowing for her. And she told me, and she has, a 15 or 20-year arc of building a beautiful and successful business in cheese, of all things. She said, don't tell your own story. Let the people like me and Roger carry what this is forward. And so we have been working very hard for the 5 years we've been doing this to get ourselves out of the way. And what we've done is we've turned our camera to people. And at first they would tell us about what they found to be groovy and cool about palliative care or resolution care. But as it evolved, we stopped asking them to do that. And we just asked them to share what they feel is important to others from their vantage point. And so many of them don't even talk about their illness. They talk about their life. And just the fact that we're there honoring them with that camera is enough of a message that connects whatever it is that they're sharing about what they've learned in life or what they wish they had done differently or what they hope for the people that they leave behind. The fact that we're there kind of implicitly holding the camera is enough of a connection to this work. It's a demonstration of the way that we honor, respect, and hold people who are going through hard times.
Nice. And so you're able to share that. That's a great, it even speaks to, some folks who are maybe not as in exactly the kind of business you're in, just letting a senior speak or a client, let them speak about their experiences. Testimonials are fine. They're awesome. But, sharing their story is even more powerful.
It's old school.
You're right.
It's old school. It's old
Yeah.
school. And then more and more, if you look at the website, resolutioncare.com, and look for voices, you'll see that there's also some portraiture that a photographer did that tells the story that way, as well as a series of videos. And you'll probably be able to track the ones that were the first, where we weren't quite out of the way, and then later
there's a great methodology online called story branding, and although it's more about branding your story, this kind of goes right in line with that. It's letting people tell their story, and that's powerful enough.
And then poof, we put our name at the bottom, Resolution Care, and our website. And I think that people, it's interesting in a business like this that's so integrated into a very complicated healthcare system. There's a tendency to direct marketing or messaging to the people that are going to be writing you checks. And we've done that. We've told our story. We've made presentations. We've done TED Talks and whatever, all that kind of stuff. But actually the thing that's been most satisfying and I think most lifting have been the just direct to the public conversation about what we're up to, why we're doing it, why it's important, and how it resonates with them and their families as they try to navigate the craziness of our healthcare system.
That's awesome. Great job. We'll check that out. And when we have put this interview out there. We'll make sure everybody knows where to go to look at all that
How to find us.
and learn from your example and learn more about you. So, and your business and your clients. So, and your people, I should say your people. Okay, I would imagine that you've been a mentor to many, but I'm sure there are people that you work with every day on your team or someone in your life who's been a really good influence or big influence on you. So who are those people in your life that have made such a difference?
Oh my goodness.
Professionally, personally?
Yeah, well, there have been a series of people in my life. That's a very good question. So I can name them, but that won't mean anything to the listeners. But the people that have made the biggest difference for me have been people that I had put on a pedestal, but then developed a relationship that leveled the playing field. So my friend Scott from high school, my mentor, Tom Evans, infectious disease doctor, currently working on vaccine research for the current pandemic. Creighton King, an ultra marathoner and dear friend of mine and high school teacher. And then Mary, the woman I just spoke about, who at the very beginning of building a business, which I never thought I would ever do, has been an advisor all the way along to try and help me keep my eye on the prize of what it is. So these are people that started off as like, oh, wow, they're so cool and amazing, and I can learn so much for them. And then over time, we've come together in a friendship. Those are the really strong mentors in my life.
And learn from each other. Yeah, great.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so this is a good one because I bet you have lots of good advice. I can tell. So what piece of advice would you give to other providers in general? Senior care, palliative care, respite care, whatever they might be doing.
Build whatever you're doing from the bedside upward, not from the whiteboard or boardroom downward. Focus your attention on what's actually happening in connection with the people who you're taking responsibility to serve. Find out from them what's needed and then build from that, not from what's needed by health insurance companies or regulators or professional services organizations or health systems or spreadsheets and flow charts, and then filter it down, then shove it down the throat of people who are vulnerable. They need to be at the center of everything you do and everything you build. If you're in the business of healthcare, if you're in the business of making chocolate chip cookies, you do it differently.
Yeah.
These are human beings that are suffering great distress and they're trusting you. So go to them first.
Great advice. Very much so. I think we get lost in the whiteboards and the spreadsheets and the numbers a lot. It's easy to get lost in that. But when you're at the bedside looking at someone and talking to them, I think that all gives us a renewed sense of purpose and the reason why we do what we do.
It's also much more straightforward. They'll tell you exactly what defines your success.
Yep.
Improve my quality of life, treat me like a person, help me navigate tough decisions, help my family understand what's happening, bring the resources that are required to support them in caring for me no matter what, give me as much control as I can have. These are the kinds of things that people tell you. And those are our marching orders.
Yep. That's good.
Straightforward.
That's true.
Makes it simple.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. This is supposed to be our kind of our fun, happy question. When you have a win in life, it could be professionally, it could be a goal that you set personally. When you have a win in life, how do you like to celebrate? Family, friends, team, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, it's funny. When I have rough moments and when I have celebratory moments, I've taken to sipping a little bit of my very favorite tequila.
Nice.
This is not a product placement. This is actually my favorite tequila. And so I keep it here under my desk for both circumstances, at least when it happens at the end of a day, I have a little sip as a sort of symbol of celebration or a little soothing tonic for the hard moments. So it's kind of the same thing.
You wouldn't be the first person that said that. I had somebody tell me a vodka martini with 3 olives.
There you go. See? That's
Either
good.
way,
That's good.
it works.
Right.
Celebration or a tough day. So
it's nice to be working from home because I get to keep this right next to my desk. And even though I haven't touched it for about a week or so, I haven't done anything to celebrate or soothe myself from. It's kind of nice to know it's there.
It's waiting for whatever you need. That's right.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Michael Fratkin, thank you so much for being on the show and for doing this interview. I know it's short, but you've given us a lot of valuable insight, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I'd like to encourage people to check us out and come to the website, resolutioncare.com. Enjoy what you enjoy about it. Send me a note if you like what you see or if you don't like what you see.
I think they'll like what they see. I did. So
you did? Okay.
Yeah. It's
and there's a bunch of resources we put together specific for COVID-19, advanced care planning, those kinds of things that people might find to be particularly practical and useful now too. So happy to provide those resources.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. So thank you.
My pleasure, Valerie. Thank you so much.